For cheap gold, items and other boosts for Diablo 4, visit aoeah.com. Check out the link in the description, you get 3% off with the code ARIAD. Hello and welcome everybody. My Duriel runs have been very depressing for a very long time, to put it kindly. For over 700 runs, I've been in a mood of crisis. The people who are regularly in my Discord voice chat certainly know what I'm talking about. I've been on the verge of despair and insanity, but the only thing that really helps against horrible drop luck is quantity. And on the way to 1000 I was finally successful. But let's start at the very beginning. For the first 50 runs I was still highly motivated and naive. I originally only wanted to go for 500 runs for this video, because I thought I would surely drop all Uber Uniques, or at least all the ones I need. After the first 50 runs I still didn't have an Uber Unique, until about the 70th run the Melted Heart of Zelig dropped. Sometime later the Ring of Starless Skies dropped and another Heart of Zelig, followed by a long walk of 100 runs through a desert of no drops. When I had done about 300 runs I just got another ring and another amulet, and then followed another, even more bitter dry spell, in which I almost lost faith. Because while nothing dropped for me, a friend dropped all different Uber Uniques he could drop, in less than 100 runs. That just seemed surreal to me. Instead, after an endless long time, I again dropped the amulet and the ring. My stats after 750 runs: 4 Melted Hearts of Zelig and 3 Starless Sky Rings. I felt like I was screwed by the game, especially because I couldn't even use the 2 items for my builds. Out of frustration, I have taken the amulet to build the Thorns Barb and relieved my negative feelings in the PvP area. But then came the big turning point. On the way to 800, my first Harlequin crest dropped. Only short time later my first Andy face, and then on the last few runs the Grandfather. For the first time ever I was feeling very happy in the world's Bubo, and I think everyone in the Discord breathed a sigh of relief because they no longer had to bear my nasty mood. Finally, 3 of my chars were completed, only Doombringer missing. In the last 200 runs, a second Shaco, a second Grandfather, a second Andy face and a 4th Starless Skyring dropped. So in 1000 runs I had a total of 14 Uber drops, which gives me an approximate drop probability of 1.4%. But the distribution is extremely irregular. In the first 750 runs I had as many Uber Uniques as I did in the last 250. It was 7 each. Further, there were only 2 different Uber Uniques within the 750 runs, Ring and Amulet. During the last 250 runs on the other hand, 4 different ones dropped. Harlequin Crest, Andy Face and Grandfather 2 times each, and another Starless Sky Ring. The Doombringer is still missing. However, a friend from our clan was even more unlucky than me. He dropped Andy 8 times, 7 of them in a row, and only 1 Zelig amulet in between. After the 8s and Duriels, he got the amulet and the ring again. Unfortunately, he still doesn't have the items he really needs, but he does have Andy face number 9. I'm really sorry for you, bro. So we see, RNG can be an asshole, and while some people have more luck and drop many different Uber Uniques in a short time, there are also others who have long dry spells and then get the same stuff over and over again. Overall, however, all Uber Uniques drop equally often. When I compare the drops within the clan as a whole, no item stands out with an extremely high or low amount, and there is no way to take influence on that. Some people claim that the best chances to drop a Harlequin crest has the mage class, because there are less many different helmets to drop. But I think that's a myth, and there just will be less headgear drops in general. A buddy who's only missing Harlequin crest has made countless runs with his sorceress and still had no success. Nevertheless, a circle of superstition has formed around the drop chances and how you could influence them. I also joked around there might be a trick for good loot, and sometimes I even performed a ritual where I petted a dog before every Duriel run. And in really dark moments, I thought maybe the game was punishing me for not having a battle pass, or for so often being in a hurry in the dungeons and just ignoring the cries for help from the events. But ultimately, none of this has any influence on the drops, of course. To actually do so in a targeted way, you would first have to figure out the programming of the RNG and the drop calculation. As some people may know, you can't program a true random function after all. Most methods imply fluctuating variables of the environment into the calculation. This is still no true random function in the sense of the definition, but the results come very close to the desired. Theoretically, you have the same chances on every run, only with a very high number of runs you will see a more even distribution pattern. Just for fun, I wrote down the drops of all 4 players for about 100 runs, and within the standard deviation, all normal unique items dropped equally often. What has been noticeable, however, is that when an Uber unique has dropped, it has often been part of a double unique drop. A double drop of course is no guarantee for an Uber unique, they happen from time to time, and usually only contain 2 normal uniques. I can also remember several drops with 2 unique helmets, and then it was only Yoritz and the Godslayer crown. However, almost all of my Uber drops included another unique item. I've never heard of a double Uber drop, but it already has happened that 2 players got an Uber in the same round. So in the end, there is only one way to be sure getting your Uber uniques: runs over runs over runs. And if you're very unlucky, you'll unfortunately have to run even more. Fortunately, the materials can now be farmed a little faster, and the offers in the different trading channels and platforms are also getting cheaper and cheaper. One more thing for the sake of completeness: in my statistical analysis, I assumed that the drop chances were the same for the whole time. Theoretically, it is also possible that Blizzard increased the drop chances during the season, and that is why the last 250 runs were so much better for me than all the previous ones combined. But since I couldn't find anything official about that, I assumed constant drop rates. I hope you are more lucky at Duriel than I was. I'll say goodbye, take care, and may the loot be with you.
Follow me. Thanks. Goodbye.